Everyone, welcome to the Ice House webinar. I'm Bryce Stewart, the Community Manager at the Ice House, and today we have Robyn Young with us. I'm very excited about this conversation. Robyn Young runs an HR organisation and works with many small and medium-sized businesses throughout the whole of New Zealand, and now covering a wide range of situations and specialties, working with businesses through a new set of challenges with COVID and everything that COVID has brought. Robyn is also an amazing Ice House coach. And with staffing and HR being a very important topic for our business owners right now, we thought it would be great to get her on to discuss HR staffing and a few things around it. So thanks, Robyn. Appreciate you being on the webinar.
Oh, you're welcome. So this is sort of a bit of a new thing for me, but we're going to give it a go and try and spread the word about useful things to know for business owners. So
yes, we've got one question for you, the big question that a lot of people need to know, and that is, what does an employer need to do to keep their employees? Boom.
Go. That's a tricky one, but do you know what? We're sort of dealing with offshoots of this a lot. It's not helped by the one phrase that irks me at the moment, which is called the Great Resignation. I mean, how negative can you possibly get? Employers do not need that at the moment. So, you might lose some people, and that's kind of part of life. Turnover is a thing that happens anyway. But it's where it sort of takes a bit, where you're losing those ones, the people that you need that are really critical, or there's an increase in your turnover. So I think it's important to differentiate between turnover that's okay, pretty normal, and turnover that's not quite as normal, or things that might just really cause you a headache. So what we've started to think about as a team is what we can do to help employers really think about how to keep people. And the first thing that I want to talk about is that really fluffy word that most clients go, what are you on about, Robyn? Is culture. It doesn't need to be this utopian theory that no one can ever achieve. It's just about having a good team where people come to work and enjoy what they do. It's really simple. I like to make it simple-ish. People don't make it simple, but we try. And it sort of comes down to thinking about how you communicate in your team in all directions, like no silos, good communication up, good communication down. People feeling valued by the organisation, and that their role actually makes a difference to where you're all heading, and that people come to work and are really clear on what they're doing. So that's kind of culture. And if you can aim towards that, because there's no one quick fix with culture, it's like lots of little things that happen over time. So we say, pick off some little things and start thinking about moving in those directions. The other biggie that is really tough at the moment is leadership. How do you lead people through a pandemic? Most people go, I just wing it. Fecal. You can't, I'm a small business owner. I've got staff, I get the leadership challenge. It's really, really tough, but what I say to people is be real and be genuine. And if you're slightly tearing your hair out and things are a bit challenging, your team are going to know that. They'll read it from you anyway. So you may as well just talk to them and be a tight-knit group, so that when something might be thrown your way that is much, much more challenging. I mean, I really don't wish this upon anyone, but I know it's happening. So if you had to do some restructuring and have redundancies in the business, if your team kind of are on that path with you, and they know how they've ridden the waves of COVID for the last 2 years, you're more likely to have a smoother process, rather than just landing it on them and being aggressive. That doesn't help for anyone. And so I think that type of stuff, as a good leader, it's about being human. And you and I think were joking the other day, because I said, just don't be a dick. And that kind of sums it up. You've just got to do your best, and it doesn't come naturally to everyone. And we talk to a lot of clients and owners and managers about that it's just making it something really little. If it's outside your comfort zone, that's cool. Just give it a go. See how you go.
Yeah.
And so again, so that's kind of like a little thing that you might be able to do that helps the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, you've got to look after yourself, because it's tough. You know, I'm doing the webinar, webinar video chat from home today because Wednesday's my home day. I've got to do it to keep sane.
Yeah.
My team is sweet. They know that. They leave me alone mostly. But you've got to do what you need to do to get through this because the pressure doesn't let up.
Yeah. Great.
So I sort of think you've got to look after yourself so you can look after the business and the team and be a good leader. And if you're having a rough time, that's okay. You know, we all have them. And I think accepting and being open about that type of stuff, even if it can be in really short phrases. I'm not talking about giving each other hugs. Well, apart from not meant to, but you know, just really being honest about how you're doing. And that helps.
Totally. I love that. Be human.
Yeah, be human.
So true and so helpful for people when they have a leader that's just real.
Yep. And you can laugh, you can shed a tear if it's required. It'll help. You know, shake your head when something goes wrong and figure out a plan and off you go again. So I think, you know, it's a team effort. So that's kind of where we come from when looking at that sort of stuff. And the other biggie in terms of keeping your people is actually developing them, because it's not about the money mostly. I'll come on to that. I'm kind of doing this in the order of priority if people hadn't already figured out. It's with development. One, it's really hard to get staff, although it's better than it was. But I think if you take the approach of giving people the opportunity to develop and grow and do more for themselves and for the business and for you, surely that's a good thing. And there's lots of different ways you can do that, and please don't think I'm ever going to suggest that you should do an annual performance review. No. I'm talking about, you know, so we talked about being real and genuine and human and empathetic, really. And it's about taking those leadership traits and actually building them into regular conversations with your team. You know, so monthly catch-ups, figuring out where people are at, what's cool, what's driving them nuts, what's worked really well, what support they need, you know, what they're wanting to work on, you know, all that sort of stuff. Just chat about it. And if it's a course, it's a course. That's fine. Sometimes you need that to learn a specific skill. But more often than not, it might actually be just internal coaching and working with someone who's more experienced or has a specific skill set, but actually putting some thought into it. Like, this isn't rocket science. It's actually, okay, well, I know that Bob is interested in this, and you know, William is a real expert in that. So William's cool. He's happy to buddy up with him. So off they go. You organize it, be clear on what you expect of it, and let them go. You know, it doesn't need to be really protracted with lots of paper. It's helpful to keep notes, I think. So people will go, notes, but you've got to, because when something unfortunately might not go how you'd hoped, and you'll phone someone like us to say help, we'll say, have you got notes? So you can't really get away from it. But there's, you know, I'm not talking about forms for the form's sake. I'm talking about just simple notes. It can be email, it can be a form, you know, all sorts of different things you can do, but as long as you've written some stuff down. To me, like the development conversations, and they're regular, they're monthly, 6 weekly, do what works for you guys.
I think that's so important. Otherwise, if you do just have a yearly catch up with people, then like you have no idea what from both sides, as the employer and as the employee, you have no idea what's coming, and things can come as a real shock. Where if you're having a monthly pulse or something, nothing should really come as a shock. You'll be, there's a place and an opportunity for the employee and the employer to talk and discuss things, and nothing will just blow up into too much of a big deal. I don't know. I think those pulses are so much better than the one a year.
Yeah, absolutely. The one a year loses its meaning because you're talking about something that potentially happened 8 months ago.
So true.
Basic behavioral psych. We need recency to actually be able to change how we're working. So that kind of says it really. But
Totally.
regular catch-ups, check in with people, develop them in ways that don't necessarily cost a fortune. There's lots of different things you can do. And I'm painting a picture. So we're sort of doing the development stuff, and you might actually sort of start to think about, there's some succession building in my team. There's some key talent that I want to really keep hold of and manage and support and develop. So it's sort of, all these little things that often people only see in corporates, you can do them in small businesses. Absolutely. It just needs to be in a way that's workable. So that's sort of the non-monetary items. So I'll move on to the sort
Sounds
of
good.
Traditional. How do you keep your staff? You pay them more. No, you don't, because no one can afford that. Look, it's hard. I feel really bad in these situations because I don't really provide anyone with an ounce of happiness, because inflation's going up, minimum wage is going up, wages are going up. As a business owner, how do you make that work? It's not ideal. So I don't have any great answers, because if I did, that would be really handy. But what I say is keep an eye out on where you're sitting in the market, and there's easy ways to do that. So I think that's keep finger on the pulse money wise. You don't want to get too far behind. But I say that, whereas I know something like the tech industry, they are battling big dollars, so I say that respectfully, that for some organizations, keeping a pulse on where you want to be is fine, but others might be forced and to pay more. And that I feel for them, and it's difficult. So you don't really have any good, I have no good news for them, but I still think do your best. And if you look at the other stuff, then you're more likely to keep them because they actually love coming to work.
So true. Yeah. Comes later.
That's probably about all on the dollars. Keep it relevant as best you can. But the other really interesting, this is sort of really important, even though it's the fifth point, benefits. So I'm not talking about EAP and giving them a mobile phone and a laptop. No, that's not a benefit, okay?
Yeah.
A mobile phone and a laptop are normally tools of the trade. You need them to do your job, right?
Yeah.
It's not a perk benefit. It's just a thing you need to do your job, like a pen, sort of thing. So what you need to think about, and it's sort of EAP, like that's so accessible now that I don't really think it is a benefit. You should have it. EAP, employee assistance programs, like counselling and other sort of support networks. Like Xero, they offer a great one for small businesses. So definitely, use that's there. So what we say is, hey, think wider, get creative. I was talking to one of my team yesterday about remuneration menus. Okay, so that's just remuneration being dollars and benefits. And so it's like, okay, well, get creative. You've got this big list of stuff that you might be able to afford. And some of it is more pricey than others, but, you've got to think about, different groups of people in your business will want to see different things and will be interested and respond better to different things. And it depends on, their stage in life, their interests. You can do some cool stuff. And what we find is actually, why not ask your team? What are they kind of interested in? If you're really not sure, say, if I was looking at doing some adding some benefits into, you know, our work. What would you be interested in seeing? You're not committing. You're just simply asking, what are you interested in? So some people, it might be insurances. Other people, it might be different types of leave. You see things like me days popping up, wellness allowances, which is basically get out of the office and go and do some exercise. You know, so all sorts of things. And honestly, like that's just the tip of the iceberg. You can do so much.
Yeah.
So that's probably the 5 key things in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolute gold. Yeah, I love that. It's just heading that way in terms of, I like what you said, get creative with your thinking around benefits and development and ways that you can keep your staff. Have a think and also ask them. You don't need to commit, but just ask the people that, you know, you'll be presenting these options to, what would spin their wheels, because ultimately they're going to want to stay with a company that is catering to their lifestyle, their needs, and who they are as a person. So I love those thoughts. It's so cool. So to cover that was culture, leadership, developing your people, money, and benefits. And a really key question that we asked Robyn: what does an employer need to do to keep their employees? Massive question that's been asked at the moment. And I feel like those are 5 really practical and easy tips that our business owners can follow. So I really appreciate that, Robyn. That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to say on the topic?
Yeah, no, there's one more.
Cool.
Yeah, there's flexible working.
Yeah.
Obviously, working from home is just a thing we do now. And so we've got a few clients that have sort of pushed the boat out and done a few things differently. And we're really supportive of them giving this type of stuff a go. We've got a trade client, reasonable size. I think he's got sort of 20 to 30 odd people. And they decided to do a 4-day week, but 4 10s, so 14-hour days. And they're trialing it and it's going really well.
Awesome.
So, you know, he talked to the team really well, and they've all bought into it. It's voluntary. And so that's that type of thing like means the world to a lot of people, especially if you've got young children. Or actually you just like going to do something at the weekend that's, you know, you might be mountain biking, and if you live in Auckland, you probably need to go a bit further away to get on a good mountain range. So, you know, it's that type of stuff that really think about what works. And then the other day I was talking to a really small organization, and I said to them, well, she was talking about, you know, the actual 4-day week where you pay full time, but you get pay 5 days work, but you get 4 days work equivalent.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why not? If that's a step too far, why not do 4.5 days work, pay for 5? You're only losing 4 hours, which is probably what you lose in productivity anyway, or the slack. And does anyone really do anything on a Friday afternoon? So, you know, it's that type of stuff. Just have a think, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Well, give it a go, because there's lots of other ways that you can do it as well. But it might be something that I think organizations need to just have in the back of their mind. And if they're ready to do it, then definitely, you know, have some conversations about it.
I love it. I couldn't agree with that concept more. But I love what you said around, hey, just trial it. It doesn't need to be this is an idea that we've thought about and we're going to fully execute it and this is us now, because I'm sure an owner would be nervous. What if this doesn't work? What if, you know, I lose productivity and efficiency and revenue and all that? But hey, what about a trial? 3 months, 6 months, whatever the owner feels comfortable with. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, you do need to put some letters around it just to cover yourself, because you are sort of you're dealing with contractual terms on a temporary basis and changing them. So definitely put some paperwork around it. But yeah, by all means, give it a go.
It's a great idea. I'm totally for the the concept for sure, and see a lot of businesses actually heading that in that direction, at least trialing it for now, which is a great first step. So awesome. I love that, Robyn, and really appreciate your insight and many years of experience, and you know, the specific situations that you've had to deal with small, medium-sized businesses, and anything that has people involved can be an interesting one, and especially in HR and stuff. So I really appreciate your insight there. If you would like to, you know, you've listened to this webinar and this conversation around keeping your employees, and you want more information, you can get in touch with us. The information will just be in the caption. Just let us know through the contact details that we've popped there, and we can connect you with Robyn. As you can tell, she's onto it, she's straight to the point, and I have no doubt in my mind that she'd support you with what you're going through as a small, medium-sized owner. So Robyn, thank you so much for jumping on and for letting us, just giving us some insight into your world and your expertise. Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. I hope people have taken something away from it. And yeah, get in touch. You know, we've got lots of different ideas for people.